Very good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining us here on the Urban Debate. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. The focus of our program today would be on the issue that was raised by the wife of the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, but the issue has now taken a political turn as well. We are talking about the statement made on traffic jams. Traffic jams deny family time to people and cause 3% of divorces in Mumbai. Yes, that was stated by former Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis' wife, Amruta Fadnavis, who claims that this is a figure that she's quoting from a survey done on Mumbaikars. Of course, the statement invited a lot of ridicule from the Shiv Sena, saying that this is stretching the argument a bit too far. On one level, one may argue, of course argue, that divorce is a sensitive issue, and while it is important to look at the traffic mismanagement, there is no need to drag the rate of divorce or the divorce figures into it. At another level, this is also an emphatic way of highlighting the mental distress that Mumbaikars go through on a day-to-day basis in their daily commute. And certainly, it's not unlikely that personal relationships are impacted by it. So no denying, of course, like I said in the beginning of the program, that there's a lot of politics being played around it as well, with Mumbai civic body polls scheduled to happen as early as next month. Is the BJP raking up these civic issues conveniently at a time like this, trying to target the ruling MVA? We'll try to get answers to all those questions. We have a panel of guests who will weigh in with their views. But before that, let me first play out the reaction of Amruta Fadnavis when I asked her what does she have to say to the deluge of comments that have now come on her tweet, calling it an absolutely absurd and illogical statement to say that 3% of divorces in Mumbai are being caused by the traffic jams. Let's listen in to what Amruta Fadnavis had to say in response.
I feel very sad that my statement was blown out of proportion and got brought into a very negative zone by the Aghadi. In fact, they are very smart people. They know the solutions to many problems which can make a huge difference, but they are always busy fulfilling their own personal agendas. The statement I made was on the basis of a report and a survey which I had referred to. Hence, I spoke those lines. But the reason why I spoke those lines were, I am a common citizen of Mumbai. I go out and I face a lot of traffic issues, including the pits and most importantly, the congestion. You would be knowing that Mumbai, during morning times, the roads of Mumbai are 80% congested, and evening times 102% congested. If you think of highways, 56% of Mumbai highways are congested, and 73% of non-highways, which matters to us, are always congested. On peak days, a Mumbaikar takes 149% more time to reach from the same place to the same place, from A to B. He takes 149% more time. So let's better discuss these basic issues which can be solved, but there's no political will.
So yes, we are going to get you different voices from different quarters to understand what they think, what are their thoughts on this statement, particularly on that analogy of traffic jams. Is it connected in any way to marriages and divorces? Let me introduce Sena NC, spokesperson of the BJP, is with us today. Kishore Tiwari, leader of the Shiv Sena. Also with us is Rekha Agarwal, who's a family court lawyer. And also we'll welcome as citizen voices Mukesh Tyagi, Bollywood actor, and Naseer Abdullah, who's also belongs to the Bollywood fraternity. So first, coming to you, I want to ask the Shiv Sena representative to begin with, and I want to get a very clear answer on this, Mr. Kishore Tiwari, that at one level, this is an issue for every Mumbaiker. Let's not shy away from that. You may have your issues. I know that Priyanka Chaturvedi has said that this is illogical and absurd. But एक लेवल पे किशोर तिवारी जी ये तो सच्चाई है, रियलिटी है कि जिस तरह का असर ट्रैफिक जैम्स के वजह से हमारे पर्सनल रिलेशनशिप्स में पड़ते, इसके बारे में हम बात नहीं करते अक्सर हम बात नहीं करते. What do you make of the statement made by Amruta Fadnavis?
नहीं नहीं, देखो, मुंबई का ट्रैफिक हो या कलकत्ता का ट्रैफिक हो या बेंगलोर का हो या दिल्ली का हो, अब तो चेन्नई भी आ गया, हैदराबाद भी आ गया, तो ट्रैफिक के तो अपने कारण है। लेकिन ट्रैफिक जाम के वजह से डिवोर्स बढ़ गए, ये शाइना इंसी बता सकती है कि ये कहां से सर्वे किया और कैसे सर्वे किया। और अमृता फडणवीस का ऐसा ट्विटर पे ट्वीट करना या बोलना या हरदम ट्रोल क्यों होता है? तो एक रेडिकुलस बात करने की और उसके बाद उसको जस्टिफाई करने के लिए बंबई की समस्या के प्रति बताने का, और फिर आगाड़ी फिर ये और वो। देखो, ट्रैफिक की समस्या के लिए हम लोग, सभी लोग, यानी देवेंद्र फडणवीस, उनके हस्बैंड जब सीएम थे तब से अभी तक सब लोग, हम मेट्रो पे काम कर रहे, हम बहुत सारे नियम लाए, हम कोस्टल रोड पे काम कर रहे। तो ट्रैफिक की समस्या अपनी जगह, पारिवारिक समस्या अपनी जगह, लेकिन ये तो दुनिया में कहां सर्वे हुआ मुझे मालूम नहीं कि
नहीं, आप
ट्रैफिक
क्या
की वजह
ये
से
दावे के साथ कह सकते हैं कि ट्रैफिक की समस्या के साथ हमारे जो रिश्ते हैं, हमारे फैमिली के जो तनाव है, उसका कोई रिश्ता नहीं, कोई कनेक्शन नहीं? क्योंकि मैं खुद मुंबईकर हूँ, मुझे पता है इस पे बहुत मेंटली बहुत दबाव इसके वजह से होता है। फैमिली के साथ टाइम उसमें काफी रिस्ट्रिक्ट हो जाता है, पर्सनल रिलेशनशिप्स में असर पड़ता है। क्या आप डिनाई कर सकते हैं इस चीज को?
नहीं, देखो, मुंबई कर या बड़े महानगरों की अपनी वो एक समस्या है कि बच्चों को हफ्ते में एक ही बार मिलना पड़ता है, और ये समस्या वास्तविकता है। लेकिन इस समस्या को लेके डिवोर्स हो जाती, ये बात नहीं है। मैंने जो हमारे बंधु रहते हैं उनको पूछा कि आपके कॉलोनी में जरा ये अमृता फडणवीस का फीडबैक ले लो, तो उन्होंने बोला, औरतें तो बोलती है कि चलो इससे तो कम डिवोर्स होते हैं, कि आदमी से दररोज का झगड़ा कम होता है। देखिए, अपने अपने ओपिनियन है, लेकिन डिवोर्स के लिए ये कारण नहीं है, लेकिन बच्चों की परवरिश या रिश्ते, इस पर एक कारण है, और इस पे तो सब लोगों ने गंभीरता से सोचना चाहिए।
नहीं,
कि
हम इसलिए हमने इस सब्जेक्ट पे हमारे साथ पैनल में एक फैमिली कोर्ट लॉयर भी है, हम उनके पास भी जाएंगे, बट फर्स्ट लेट मी आस्क शाइना एनसी। यस शाइना, योर रिस्पॉन्स टू दिस प्लीज।
First and foremost, Amruta Fadnavis is a Mumbaikar, like another citizen. She is entitled to a comment. Now, where she has sourced the information from is from a study which she has revealed to all and said that this is SurveyMonkey, which suggests. Now, what has she said which is very important? We are selectively picking out only one word called divorce. When she spoke about traffic jams, she said that the survey says that it leads to psychological illnesses. It also leads to a fall in employee productivity. And as a result of so much commute where people get less time to spend with their families, it sometimes leads to an increase in divorce rates. Now, if you're going to selectively only pick the word divorce, she said 3%, and misconstrue what the reference to context is, I think it's unfair. Now, you may agree or not agree with an opinion. You may believe that there is traffic congestion or there isn't, but you have a certain government in place which is responsible, which is accountable, and which needs to answer serious questions of citizens when it comes to basic issues of potholes, basic issues of roads. एक मिनट, मैंने आपको रोका नहीं।
Please don't interrupt. Let her finish. Let her finish, Mr. Tiwari. Let's hear her out. Yes.
This is the problem I have been facing from last 50 years.
No, we are not going to do a political slugfest. Please allow her to finish. Yes, Shaina Nancy, complete your point.
What has she said? She has said she's speaking like a common citizen. हर दिन वो बाहर निकलती है, and as a normal woman, if she has to also face the traffic woes, the potholes, the roads, she is raising a question. Now that question needs to be answered. If you choose to troll somebody and not understand that she has talked about other issues also, whether it is employment and the employee's performance at work, whether it's psychological illnesses, and many such issues which have been raised. Now, you may buy the argument of SurveyMonkey or not. Let's play devil's advocate for 1 minute. And I just want to raise one question, which I think is the most important for everyone to ponder about and to think about and to answer. Are you aware, sir? और मैं शिवसेना के representative को पूछना चाहती हूँ कि आज number 1 जो city है for the world's worst traffic, unfortunately, it's our Mumbai. With the highest congestion of 65%. This is our city, Mumbai.
Are you sure about the data? Because I'm going to be a little particular about the data we are quoting.
Please,
As per our
and
research, Mumbai is at number 2. The worst in traffic index happens to be Moscow. Okay, carry on.
Please quote Amruta Fadnavis's tweet, and then you can arrive at your own. You can agree, disagree. These are just issues she has brought to light as a citizen. I don't think we have to raise this and say that what is her right to speak, or should she be speaking or not speaking. That is a personal prerogative of every citizen. And look at the kind of language which has been used on social media. That's not nice. When somebody says there are traffic jams which have delayed movement, which have questions which need to be answered, you have a DP plan which has been completely...
No, the timing of it also, Shaina, and see that, of course, we know Amruta Fadnavis raises civic issues time and again. But this is coming right ahead of the Mumbai civic polls. So therefore, I mean, there's a fair question about whether there is a political agenda as well behind it.
But
quickly, please, finish your point. I need to go to the other guests.
Yeah. Why not? If there are bad road networks, if they have to be freed of blockages, you have a DP which has been cleared, the road quality has been questioned, the metro in terms of, for the common man in terms of completion and timelines has been questioned. All these are questions that you, me, or anybody else can raise. So I don't understand why this hue and cry.
There's no problem actually in raising this issue of traffic mismanagement or traffic snarls. The issue was why drag divorce figures into it. And you are saying she raised it in multiple perspectives. Divorce figure was one of them. But we still want to know from Rekha Agarwal, is there any correlation, Ms. Agarwal, on the kind of congestion that we see and the impact it is having in homes? And is that leading to divorces really?
I really wouldn't say that traffic per se, the traffic is the cause for divorce, and as you said, rightly said that, we're just picking on words that just because Ms. Fadnavis said that 3% divorce in Mumbai is because of traffic. I really don't think that one particular, there is only one particular reason which leads to divorces. The problem of traffic in big metro cities like Mumbai and Delhi, Calcutta, they cannot be pushed under the carpet. Of course, traffic is a problem which every person who's on the road is facing, and that does lead to a lot of psychological problems. There is ultimately, why do divorces take place? I think there is one of the primary reasons is stress. It could be physical stress, it could be mental stress, psychological stress, it could be illness, physical illness, or any kind of illness, which is not permitting you to have a normal, normal relationship with your spouse. So obviously, if a person is stressed out on the road, whether it is a husband or a wife, he or she is going to take it out on the other spouse when they reach home. Or the spouse who's waiting at home could probably not appreciate the fact that her spouse or his spouse has got held up in traffic. And there could be a lot of arguments, oh, you've reached home, etc.
Yes, I do understand what you're saying, that there may not be a direct correlation. We may not see a direct connection. There are layers. But, are you still saying that, yes, it's very much possible that these factors lead to friction?
See, both a husband and a wife, I think both spouses have to work equally in a marriage. A relationship cannot be taken for granted. You have to work upon a relationship for it to survive, particularly now when the number of women who are also working has increased so much.
Yes.
Gone are the days when a wife was just sitting at home and waiting for her husband to come back. She would make the food and wait for her husband to serve the dinner. She wouldn't care whether the husband has got late or whether he's come early. But now when the wives are also working, and a wife who is working and who's on the road and who gets stuck in a traffic jam, she may not be able to fulfill all the responsibilities in a happy way, which would have been the case much earlier when women were not working, when they were just confined to the kitchens and the home. So therefore, I will say I'm not at all advocating that women should not work less. my words are also kind of picked up, and there's a hate mail and trolling against me. What I mean to say is that and as a family court lawyer, we see this day in and day out. There is nothing wrong in a marriage. Both persons, the husband and wife, both spouses seem to be equally qualified, good looking, qualified, coming from good families, educated and working, they're able to sustain themselves, financially independent persons, have children. Everything looks good on the surface, yet the marriages are floundering. And the reason for marriages floundering are 101 reasons. And the primary reason is, of course, stress. And as I said earlier, the stress can be for any reason whatsoever. Traffic could be one of the reasons which increases your stress in having a normal, positive mindset, which is required.
And this is in general, you're saying. It's nothing to do with MVA Sarkar or BJP Sarkar. It's across.
Not at all.
Over the decades, traffic has always plagued this city. And as we bring in more facility, we bring in metro, there'll be that much more people. So let me have the two representatives from civil society, Mumbaikars, who will tell us now what they feel about this topic. Mukesh Tyagi, you go first.
I think she has raised a pointer which need to be considered, cannot be brushed aside under the carpet, because she has perhaps not quoted exact source why 3% of divorce or separations are happening because of the traffic start. I think, but she has flagged the issue, which is very important. Like Mumbai, for example, BMC is the richest body in the country with 82,400 just in fixed deposit. And look at the 25,000 potholes. Though government is trying to make it best, but look at the traffic infrastructure constraints Mumbaikars face. I mean, you spend almost an hour on average for the similar distance you travel in other parts of the country, and which consumes extra fuel, which consumes extra carbon emissions. And also, it causes all kinds of snowball effect. You go to office late, you are highly stressed because you have to get up early in the morning. Then you go and you come back again. You almost spend 11 to 15 days in a year wasting your time only on the traffic. Is it the situation which is like Mumbai is one of the most progressive in the financial capital of India? It contributes 30% of GDP and 30% of income tax and almost 7 to 8% of GDP to the government of India. Now, look at the condition. I think it's so pathetic. You want to go 1 kilometer, you think twice. I mean, you want to leave to the airport. I have missed many flights because I left even 2 hours before, but I was stuck in a traffic because there is no intelligent traffic management system there. Most of the places are dug up because of the metros and other infrastructure. But look at the kind of time metros are taking and kind of parallel activities go on. You have in the Western world, if you dig up a road, you come out with a multiple service provider in the same tunnel. You don't dig up every time there is a line being drawn. So look at the fiber optic is coming and look at the narrow size of the roads. And, so there are a number of issues. So it builds up the stress. You talk to the psychologist.
I get your point.
Talking to psychologists and the stress reflects on your interpersonal relationship. And there's no doubt about that. Mumbai is a vertical city because of space starvation. And people live in a dingy apartments. People have a very limited income. Corona has accentuated that issue now. No wonder 20 to 25 divorce petitions are filed in every day in Bandra family court. Now, what happens is one of the spouses is late, earnings are paltry, living standards are very poor. So, and then you are reaching late as it mismanages the entire time management of the family. So, Miss Amruta Fadnavis, who is a well-educated woman, she has done her MBA. She is very intelligent girl. I mean, she works for Axis Bank. I think she's working now or not. I don't know. I think she has not made a political statement at all.
I get your point. You are saying that these issues, the civic issues, derail people's lives. And you are saying that it is possible that marriages are getting impacted. Yes, finish your point, sir.
I'm only saying is Mr. Tiwari should not make it a political slugfest. He should draw the attention to improve the life of the Mumbaikars.
Yes, we'll come to that. There's no point shooting the messenger. If somebody has used an exaggerated analogy, leave that aside. But yes, there is an issue and we must discuss this. It affects our lives. And to what extent it affects our lives, we may disagree. Somebody believes that it is leading to divorce. Okay, you were fine. By all means, disagree with it. But you cannot disagree that we have a problem here. And why I'm saying this, look at the figures, and we'll play it out on your screens as well. An average of 22 divorce petitions per day in Mumbai Between 2011 to 2020, over 8,300 cases reported every year. 2021, 5,059 cases of divorce reported, divorce petitions filed more by men than women. Some of the core issues, also what we found out is the rising standards of expectations among people, lack of time for the partner, lack of communication between the couple. These are some of the things that we found out while researching this topic. I know that there would be naysayers who would say that how do you attribute it to traffic? How do you attribute it to simply to one factor? No, we are not. What we are trying to say is that the fact that personal relationships and marriages are breaking down in this city at an alarming rate, that's a reality. Kishore Tiwari ji, bataiye.
May I just add?
नहीं, मैं मुकेश त्यागी जी की बात से सहमत हूँ कि सिविक इश्यूज है जो बीएमसी को एड्रेस करना है, लेकिन मेरे को, जैसे मैं किसान नेता हूँ, तो किसानों की जो कृषि संकट है, तो एग्रेरियन क्राइसिस को हम हैंग करते हैं फार्मर सुसाइड से, तो बराबर है, लेकिन सिविक प्रॉब्लम को डिवोर्स से हैंग करने का ये पहले ही सर्वे देखा मैंने, और ऐसा सर्वे तो मुझे आश्चर्य लगता है। और ये 3% बढ़ा बोलते तो पहले कितना था और कितना है, परसेंटेज दूसरे सिटी में कितना है।
आप उसको अगर हटा के सिर्फ जवाबदेही इस इशू पे रखें, तो मैं आपसे ये सिर्फ सवाल पूछूंगी, क्या ये आपकी और मेरी रियलिटी नहीं है कि इस तरह के जो हम रोज जूझते हैं ट्रैफिक की समस्या से? I will allow Mr. Naseer Abdullah, in fact, to make his point before I go back to the other politicians. Go ahead, Mr. Abdullah.
Yeah, you know what, in the mid-80s, right into the mid-90s, I was in Bombay, and we had all agreed that the traffic is more voluminous in Bombay, but it's more organized. People from Delhi agreed that it was so, really beautifully organized. But unfortunately, now the traffic has increased so much. Mumbai is actually reeling with an explosion of the amount of the people who are there. It's amazing. And so we have a situation. The Bombay civic municipal authorities are only geared to handle about 30% of the load that they have to deal with now. That includes water, other stuff and all. So let us face it. There is a huge problem. And I think the government really needs to do really things about that. But as regards the divorces, I don't think it happens. The odd case might happen because if the wife is in a foul mood and the traffic has been the cause of the delay of the husband or her partner, etc., she can freak out. But I don't think it's a very responsible statement. I don't think it is true. It may be a contribution, just a touch here and there, but it's a fact of life. Everybody knows it. Mumbai, is a bit of a mess, has been for a long time. I've been living there since 87. I was also there in 1982 for 2-3 years. So I sort of know the deal, but I would never really want to agree that divorces happen, more divorces are happening because of the traffic.
Yes.
No, there are so many more reasons. Believe me.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Sena. Yes, go ahead.
See, I think there are two things here. One is every citizen is entitled to an opinion. Now, if this opinion comes from a survey report and is part of a longish statement which highlights other issues too, please don't just cherry pick and just use one part of the statement. That is point number one. Because when she spoke about psychological illnesses. She spoke about, employees at workspace not having that kind of productivity, etc. Now, coming to the point of divorce, yes, we have all as a society become more impatient. And maybe one of the reasons that could be cited is what she has said. But the real issue that we are seeming to ignore is what is the situation of traffic in Mumbai. Are we streamlining our roads? Are the potholes reducing? Are the road networks which should be freed of any kind of blockage or any kind of potholes which have been cleared in the DP? Has there been better road quality or not? Is the metro on track? Is it problematic for the common citizen? What is the government of the day doing? Yes, and as a citizen, she is well within her right to raise questions, not just at the time of elections, at any time she chooses to. You may agree, disagree, but the kind of trolling we have seen, as if to suggest that she is not entitled to an opinion, I think that is unfair to any citizen.
Yes,
You
those
agree,
individual
disagree, you
remarks
debate,
on, on the individual, of course, is not healthy, is not a healthy trend. We've seen it across social media, but therefore we are not even bringing that up. The kind of adverse comments on the individual who's raising this issue is not welcome. Rekha Agarwal, if I put it in another way, today, if the traffic eases out, if we by some miracle have great traffic management and there are no more traffic jams, will the divorces reduce?
Not at all. As we just discussed, that divorce is per se, does not happen because of a traffic problem. Everything puts together leads to a divorce. There is never one reason or one particular reason for which a relationship breaks. The relationships are already fragile, particularly in metro cities. Yes, and everything has a cascading effect. There's a chain reaction. It's like saying, a husband has an extramarital affair or a wife has an extramarital affair, and the divorce is taking place because of that. No, even an extramarital affair or any, problem in a relationship, there has to be some reason behind it. It just doesn't it's not like an anchor, just like something which falls from the sky. So every relationship, whether it is between a husband and wife, or even between a parent and a child, or even between two siblings, every relationship is now becoming more and more fragile. We are becoming, as a race, we are becoming more impatient because there's so many expectations from us. This is probably one of the, drawbacks or the pitfalls of living in metro cities, of education, of working. Even women are working now. Probably somebody might start sending a troll mail, trolling me and say, oh, Miss Agarwal has said that, women are getting educated. That is why divorces are taking place. How can she make a statement like this in the 21st century? No, but yes, earlier we had fewer divorces taking place when there was more stability in the relationship. Now more and more relations are becoming unstable. The foundation of the marriage is lacking. And
okay.
I'm a Delhiite. I'm
so
not a Mumbaikar.
let's not put the entire blame on traffic congestion. There are multiple factors, and yes, we have therefore said that it's, in a way, it's also trivializing a very sensitive issue of divorce. It should not have been dragged into this. The issue could have been raised in other ways. That's one side of the argument.
I'm not standing up for Miss Fadnavis or
yeah, I get that. I get that.
But I'm only saying that we cannot cherry pick on it, as China said.
Yes, yes, Mr. Naseer Abdullah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that the lady has said something that is a possibility. What she said is not very bizarre. It's not like, oh my God, like, whatever. Like Rakhi Sawant many years ago, when a couple of the ladies had actually ended their lives because they went through stuff a few years ago. So she came on TV and said, they go to the ceiling fans and they hung themselves by the ceiling fan. And she said, we should ban the fans. Ceiling fans. She said these are the cause of the suicide. So that was bizarre. This is not so what you call bizarre, because there is a fact in it. It is a promoter. It promotes frustration, stress, fatigue, and that can lead to problems in relationships. So in a way, she has a point, but it's a very minor point, not very reasonably minor.
Yes, but it's of course.
Let me add something.
Yes, please. Now, I'll just take closing comments from each one of you. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, the adverse to the monkey survey, we have a survey that there is an increase of the divorce in rural area. So, is it about the civic issue or a percentage of divorce increase in Mumbai? I think the ridiculous survey is being hanged to a civic issue, but we have taken the note of the civic issue. Shana
But
and
are
Shiv,
you, sir, willing to
we
at
have
least
been
look
working
at
on
this
it. We
as
have been
something that
working
can cause mental distress, or are you dismissing that as well? That's my question to you. Your party is in power and there are elections next month. Is this an issue that you're going to take up seriously, that this is causing distress? Whether it's causing divorces or not, we are not sort of endorsing that view, but it is causing mental distress. I am a case in point. It causes a lot of stress. The number of hours we spend on the road after our long hours at work.
No, I would like to add one thing, that we have been working on the smoothing the traffic, and the public conveyance system is being optimized.
Okay.
And we have taken a serious note of it. And China and see, you will see in the BMC, we will be updating the best services and the local services upgradation. That has not been done by your central government in the budget. That is the unfortunate
We are waiting
part.
to see.
But
We do hope and pray that that happens, and all of us have a easier commute in this city. Mr. Mukesh Tyagi, your thoughts, your final comments on this, please.
You know, unfortunately, we should not make it as a political discussion at all.
Yes.
I think there is no election around, so I will not attribute Amruta Fadnavis making a political statement at this point of time. Maybe Mr. Tiwari is little insensitive because he is from the government and he must be getting escort services to have a speedy clearance. So he's under sensitivity to the traffic stall, maybe
it's not
much
the
lower
case.
than
I am
all of
also
us.
facing the traffic.
And secondly, you see, it's not the issue. India has a 1% lowest divorce rate in the world, but there are many factors responsible for it. Our sacraments, our entire ethos system, stigma, psychological stigma. But if there is any kind of a barometer to establish that what kind of pressures and stress which is being built up between the couple, they're almost on the flashpoint of divorce, does not mean the legal divorce is the only divorce. There can be a separation under the same roof because there is a breakdown of communication, because the guy comes back late in the night. Like a lot of children don't see their parents' face for weeks together except on the weekends. And then weekends are, you see, you have to go into the general masses. And I think Amruta Fadnavis has raised the flag, and Mr. Tiwari should welcome it rather than pinpointing and butchering her point that where 3% statistics has come. Let us assume no sources there. But it is a contributory factor. So I think we should be sensitive to these social issues, improve the life of the Mumbaikars. It is a good feedback to you, Mr. Tiwari. It is good feedback to the government. So why
Yes, it should be a wake-up call, whether we agree with the survey or not. Here on Mirror Now, we are not endorsing or any such survey, but whether we agree with that or not, we wanted to discuss this issue, use the opportunity to highlight the fact that this can be causing mental distress, which is why we've invited all different points of view. Quick last word to you, Shaina NC.
My limited point is this. Every citizen is entitled to their viewpoints, their comments, their questions, questioning the dispensation, the administration. The larger issue is of traffic woes, bad roads, bad infrastructure, and the BMC has to be accountable, as does the government of the day. If they choose to just cherry pick on one odd word and miss the point, then I think public is clever enough to decide who they need to vote for in the days to come.
Okay. Yes, okay. On that note, yes, I take that point. You should not ideally miss the woods for the trees. Let's look at the larger picture. Somebody has flagged off a problem, irrespective of what party she comes from. It is an issue. Any Mumbaikar will vouchsafe for that. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program. Thanks for watching. Let's take a quick break and come back with more news.